If you're ready, please welcome Spencer Charnas. Here you go. Welcome back.
Thanks for having me. How is everybody doing?
So, I gotta ask, it's an incredibly enthusiastic crowd. I almost feel like I should just turn some of the questions over to them first.
I'm good with
Because,
it.
I mean, I just kind of feel like they're just waiting. They're just waiting. Who has a question? Let's nail them. And I'll fill in the gaps towards the end.
Yeah, a lot of
You're welcome.
questions.
Hey, Spencer. My name's Sean.
Hi, Sean.
How are you doing?
I'm great.
Just a quick question. Ice Nine Kills obviously plays smaller venues and arenas all the way up to outdoor football stadiums in front of 80,000 people. My question is, out of those two settings, do you prefer one or the other, and why?
They're both extremely different, and both have their positives and negatives. I love the experience of playing a big, huge football stadium, opening for a band like Metallica. It's been incredible. Just about a month ago, we played in Mexico City with Metallica and Five Finger Death Punch, who usually plays right after us, and then Metallica goes on. The singer Ivan, unfortunately, broke a rib or something, so Metallica asked us to play right before them. So that was insane because there were probably about 70,000 people in the stadium, and we got to play for an hour before, one of the greatest bands of all time. So that was a rush. But at the same time, I still love those small, sweaty shows where the crowd's right up in your face, and and people are stage diving, and you can give the mic to people. Whereas in stadiums, you're kind of far from the audience. So I like both for different reasons.
Okay, next question.
Hey, Spencer. So my question is, so last time we saw you, Kent beat the shit out of you and you woke up from your coma. So...
I was trying to remember.
Yeah.
She hit me so hard, it's hard to remember.
So my question is, what's your revenge getting back at her and how can we help?
Whoa. Well, I would tell you, but then I'd have to put you in a coma, so I don't want to hurt you. It's all a secret, but it will be revealed soon enough.
Yeah.
Keep them coming.
Hi, Spencer.
Hello.
So I would like to ask, what entirely got you into the horror genre? Was there a certain movie or a certain character that you saw in the horror genre?
The first one I ever saw was Halloween, Michael Myers. I was probably 5 or 6. Really young. Yeah, my parents really abused me in that way. They let me see those movies. And I was always just drawn to the aisle in the video store that said horror. And something about the cover art of that particular one with the pumpkin and the knife, I just had to figure out and see what it was all about. And then, long story short, I'm here today. 35 years later, I didn't grow out of it.
Hi, Spencer.
Hello.
So it's Gia's birthday.
Oh, happy birthday.
Would you sing happy birthday to her, please?
If you guys join me, of course.
Of course, if they join you.
And what was your name? Say it loud.
My name's Gia, but my 18th birthday is actually tomorrow.
Gia. Okay, so everyone, 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Gia. Happy birthday to you.
There you go.
Yay.
Thank you.
You got it.
Thank you.
Out of everybody you've been on tour with, who do you think would be your favorite band that you were touring with?
Metallica. You got it for sure. Grew up listening to those guys, idolizing them, learning to play guitar through their songs. So to be literally on the same stage is just an incredible honor, and they're just very nice people, and they treat us very well.
Do you remember the first time you heard Metallica?
Man, I don't know if I can pinpoint the first time, but probably the first song I heard was Enter Sandman on MTV or something, and was immediately captivated by that song, and then went back and listened to all the older stuff, like, Master Puppets, and then my dad was nice enough to take me to see them play in 1997 at the Boston Garden. What was the Boston Garden? And just been one of my favorite bands ever since I was a little kid.
Nice.
Probably around the same time that I got into horror, yeah.
Hi, so my question is, do you have any advice for like younger artists that are trying to get themselves out there or just trying to get in the music industry in general?
You gotta have thick skin, because it's a long, arduous process getting a band going and not getting discouraged. It took us years and years and years to break through before anyone would give us a shot. No record label wanted to sign us. We couldn't get a manager. We couldn't get on even local shows. So you just got to keep your head up and keep pressing on and developing your craft and the way that you market your music. And I always like to think back to, there's two particular stories, one from music, one from horror, that always kind of kept me going through the tough times. One was about a filmmaker who couldn't get his movie made. No studio wanted to produce it. It was a movie about dreams, and basically the studio told him that no one's interested in movies about dreams. And he went on and found a very small independent film company, and they produced his movie. And that movie was A Nightmare on Elm Street. So, and then the other story is about a band that couldn't really get a record label because people kept telling them they were too punk for the metal crowd and too metal for the punk crowd, and they couldn't get a deal. So they signed with a very small label that I think their manager just created, and that was Metallica. So, people in those businesses sometimes don't believe in you, but look what happened. Someone didn't want to sign Metallica, and someone didn't want to produce Nightmare on Elm Street. So yeah, sure.
Sure, I got a question. Going back to your early roots, was your original name of your band different than what it ended up being, Nice Nine Kills?
It was originally just Ice Nine.
Ice Nine.
When we started the band in high school, it was a suggestion that my sister made because she was a big Kurt Vonnegut fan, and the book A Cat's Cradle is where the name originates from. And before we released our first official album in 2006, we found out there was another band. They were defunct by that time, but they were called Ice Nine. And out of respect for them, and also because the internet was just really coming up and starting to play a role in marketing your band, we wanted people to be able to differentiate between us and that old band when they would search it. So yeah, so it became Ice Nine Kills in about 2006.
Awesome, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks. All right. Next question, please.
Hi, my name is Vincent. You've done collaborations with stuff like Bayside and TX2 in this moment. Would you be open to doing more of that kind of stuff, or would you like to stick mostly like a solo kind of thing?
I'm always down for collaborations if I like the band or I like the song. But yeah, never closed off to it.
Okay, where we got? There we go.
Hi, Spencer. A couple years ago, someone asked what some of your favorite underrated horror movies were, and one of them was Valentine, and I was curious why.
I'm guessing you don't like it. I'm just kidding. Valentine was a movie that came out, I want to say maybe 2001 or 2, I can't remember. It is not My Bloody Valentine, it's a different film. And I thought that it was really a good story. I thought it was directed well, the acting was cool, and the reveal of the killer was chilling to me, and I thought it was a good film. So yeah.
Yeah, hey Spencer, it's Oni. I don't know why I did that. Whatever.
That's your question?
Yeah. So you've now toured with Metallica. Are there any other, like, I guess, influential bands that you'd want to tour with?
Oh man, Metallica. You know, when we would do meet and greets and Q&As before we tour with Metallica, anytime anyone would ask me, you know, who would your dream tour be? I would always say Metallica. But another one, probably like a Rob Zombie, I think would be pretty awesome. That would be great. Oh, I love that. There you go.
Hello. Just out of curiosity, what is your favorite style of horror?
Slasher, no question. That's my favorite. It's always been my favorite. I appreciate other ones. There's a lot of movies that I like in the genre that wouldn't be classified as slasher necessarily, like, you know, movies like The Shining or Jaws or Exorcist, but slasher is by far my favorite. Will always be.
Hey, so I wanted to ask, what, as an artist, is your favorite part of the song making process?
Of the songwriting process? I guess lately, for the last couple albums, we work with this one composer named Francesco Farini. He is in this band from Italy called Flesh God Apocalypse. Very cool name. And basically what we do, he's unbelievably talented, and he takes the demos that we do, and, you know, because our songs are based on movies primarily, and he takes it and he adds this orchestral element to it. And so if the song is about Halloween, for instance, he'll study that movie and how John Carpenter, what kind of soundscapes he used, what kind of instruments. He does all this really crazy research, and eventually he turns over to us his version of the song that's just orchestral, and then we eventually add it within the music. But it's such a fun process to write a song, and then we're all, you know, me, the producer, everyone in the band, we get to listen to Francesco's version, orchestral version of the song, and it's always just such a exciting experience to see, you know, what did Francesco do? You know, how did he handle this part? And it always blows us away. So if you guys know, we have an album that's just an orchestral version of Welcome to Horrorwood. That is Francesco Farini's work. So I would say that's probably my favorite part of the process now, seeing what Francesco does.
Hi, Spencer. I'm Vera. I wanted to ask, are you guys ever planning on making music videos for every trick in the book?
Any more music videos? I think there's always a possibility. Yeah. Maybe we'll go back in time.
Okay, another question?
Hi, Spencer.
Here we go. Got a question right here.
Hi, Spencer. One, happy belated birthday, and two, do you plan on doing like any lesser-known horror movies like Dolls or whatever, just for
lesser known movies? Yeah, I mean, as long as I like them. I like the idea, you know, the last two albums, obviously we covered the Mount Rushmore of horror, you know, Halloween and Texas Chainsaw and Nightmare on Elm Street, but I love throwing in movies that are more cult-based, you know, cult-following based, like Silent Night, Deadly Night, or even like My Bloody Valentine. These are movies that are known, of course, but the average person on the street might not recognize them, so it's nice to expose people who may have not heard of those movies to those films.
What's your take on the Maxine trilogy? Have you seen all three?
I got to see the last one. I got to see Maxine. I started it, but I didn't finish it. I mean, I really like X. Pearl visually was incredible, yeah. So I'm excited to see Maxine, yeah.
Thank you.
Hi. With everything going on with the Terrifier collab and The Art of Dying that just came out, I was just wondering what the next chapter of Ice Nine Kills music's going to be for next year.
As I said to her, if I tell you, I have to kill you. So So be sure we got something cooking. It's going to be a continuation of the storyline that we set up in the work of art video. So I'm excited to continue that story. You'll see soon enough.
Okay, here we go.
Hi, I'm Edwin, and I was wondering, what's your favorite and least favorite song to perform on stage and why?
Well, we've only played a work of art maybe 5 times because it came out just before our last tour, which was just in Australia. So that was insane to see the reaction of the crowd in Australia, given that the song was, only a couple of weeks old. I don't really have a least favorite song to play. I like playing them all.
We talked a lot about the influence that horror movies have had, but what about horror novels? Are there any that have influenced your work, or does that mostly come from films?
I think for me, the influence would be usually in going back to a movie that was based on a novel. Obviously all the Stephen King stuff, but all those movies, like all those books and movies like Pet Sematary, It, Carrie, I always saw the movie first and then went back and read them. But I'd say in terms of what my favorite influence has been in terms of a book that eventually obviously became one of my favorite movies would be Bret Easton Ellis's American Psycho. Yeah.
Hi, so we had the pleasure of seeing David Howard Thornton in a work of art. Will we have the pleasure of seeing you in Terrifier 4?
I mean, that would be amazing. You gotta tell Damien you want me in the movie. Tweet at him. Or X at him, whatever the hell you do.
Yeah, there you go.
But yeah, I mean, that would be an honor.
Yeah. Okay.
Hello again. So, do you guys have a 13 Ghosts song, maybe? Do you guys have one?
Should we? Yeah. We'll get mad in the video, right?
Question down the middle.
Hi. Was there a music video or song that was kind of hard for you creatively to compose or film at all?
Song or video? I would say the one that I remember, sometimes when you're writing songs, it just comes out of you, and a song like Hip to Be Scared or Shower Scene were very just kind of we knew it was it. But a song that I remember really trying to find the right chorus for, and I went through 5 to 10 different choruses for, would have been Farewell to Flesh, about Candyman. Obviously, rest in peace to the late, great Tony Todd. But when we finally found the chorus, it was great. And so it took a while to get the right one. But I was very pleased when Tony Todd actually tweeted to us that the song really moved him. And it's just so sad that we lost him so young. He's such a great guy, really, really great person. So it's nice that that song will always be a tribute to him.
Hi. So when you were forming the band, did you already know Ricky and Patrick beforehand, or did you do a recruiting thing for that?
So I formed the band so long ago. How many of you guys are in high school? Anyone in high school? All right. So I formed the band when I was 14, 15. Yeah. So and I'm 39. I just turned 39. And I didn't even know who Patrick and Ricky were then. I probably met those guys maybe around 2009 or 2010. So yeah, when I formed the band, I didn't even know them, but I'm glad that I found them.
Hi again. So going back to just going through all the projects and so many opportunities you've gotten. So what's the mindset that keeps you on your toes when you're just going through so much in life and career-wise? What's the one thing keeps you steady?
When the band was coming up, we were talking about before those 2 stories about Wes Craven and Metallica kept me going through the struggle of getting the band some traction. But no matter how much success anyone has in the film business. The Metallica's, the biggest actors in the world. You know, we all go through stuff, and I think it's just important to kind of you put life in perspective and be thankful for what you have, because a lot of people, you know, don't have what you have, and you have to be thankful for what you've got.
So I have to ask a question. When you're watching a horror movie, what is the process of getting a song from it? Do you take notes during the movie? Do you start hearing things in the film? Do you like go to sleep and something comes to you? What exactly is the process of taking movie to song?
Well, most of the times the movies that I choose to make our songs out of, I know like the back of my hand, because I've seen them so many times, but I still go back through them, and like you said, I take notes, and then I know that there are certain turns of phrases or certain taglines from films or certain plot points that I know the hardcore fans of those films would like. And in terms of the musical stuff, adding in the motifs and certain little nods to the original score are important. And sometimes I go for such a deep cut in that way that, you know, people don't even get it. Like in our song "Stabbing in the Dark," right before the second chorus, we play the Chordettes' "Mr. Sandman," a little nod to, you know, to Halloween 2, and I think the only other film that it appears in the original series was H2O. But still, I haven't heard many people like get that reference. So it's sort of a hodgepodge of taking notes, loving the film already, and paying respect to some of the phrases and character points that I know that the people would want.
Do you ever hear back from any of the directors who said, "Oh, that's really nice you did that"?
Usually through our lawyers. No, I'm just kidding. No, but you know, living in Los Angeles, and the horror community is so tight-knit there, especially, definitely have made friends with a lot of people who work on the films and then become fans of the band, you know. You know, Blumhouse produced the last few Halloweens, which were really cool, and you know, some of the executives there come to see us play, and even the guy that created the Michael Myers mask for the new trilogy and did the special effects, Chris Nelson, who's an amazing special effects artist, he did the effects on our last music video for Work of Art. So it's cool, yeah.
Got time for a few more questions.
Okay, do you have a favorite horror villain and or a favorite death?
That's hard. You know, out of the original sort of Mount Rushmore of horror, Michael Myers and Jason were always my favorite. And then a deeper cut would be Silent Night, Deadly Night, Billy, just the idea of a Santa Claus swinging an axe around. But to me, the modern version of those Mount Rushmore is Art the Clown. So I mean, to me, I think, you know, we're 45 years from the original Halloween, and you still see Michael Myers shirts. You know, we're more than 40 years from the original Friday the 13th, and you still see shirts walking around. I think in 40 years you'll still see Art the Clown.
So as we know, in Scream 6, there is the little Ice Nine Kills Easter egg of your guys' show poster on the fridge near the beginning. I mean, and I know you said in the past you're a huge Scream fan. Does there get any more higher honor than being included in an Easter egg in a Scream film?
No. That was incredible, and I'll tell you the quick story about how that came about. Who's a fan of Dead Meat James here in Chelsea? So, for those of you who don't know, Dead Meat James and Chelsea, they're an internet sort of personality on YouTube. They do these great videos called The Kill Counts, where they count down the kills from all these different horror movies, and they've amassed millions of followers. They do it in a very clever way. And I became good friends with them, went to their wedding, and which was officiated by Heather Langenkamp, by the way, from A Nightmare on Elm Street. Pretty cool. And long story short, they sat me at this table, and I recognize these three guys. I'm like, who are these guys? Oh my God, that's Radio Silence. Radio Silence was the 2 director and producer team that did Scream 5 and 6. At the time, Scream 5 had just come out, and I talked to them at the wedding and told them, you know, I was a big fan of what they did, and they had just had the #1 movie in the country. We hung out, we got drinks afterwards. We bonded pretty quickly, and Matt, one of the directors, said to me, "Hey, you know, we keep hearing about Ice Nine Kills. People keep tweeting us. You know, they want you guys involved. When we do Scream 6, send me some posters." Okay. And I was like, "Oh, thanks, man. Like, who knows if he would actually follow up?" Right. Sure enough, when they were doing Scream 6, he was like, "Send me a poster." And I had our artist make a poster for a show, a fake show that we never played actually, but because Scream 6 was taking place in New York City, I was like, oh, let's make a New York City Ice Nine Kills poster. And I said, make sure you put, to my artist, I said, make sure you put the name of the venue as Abe's Snake Pit. Now, you say, what the hell does that mean? I knew how much the directors of the new Screams loved Easter eggs, right? And Abe's Snake was Wes Craven's porn directing alias. Wes Craven directed, you know, the first 4 Screams. He went under the name Abe Snake in the 70s. So like, you know, I'm gonna put that. So, and I was like, I don't know if they'll get it. So the director texted me, I don't know, a couple weeks later, it's like, dude, that is so cool. We're gonna name the store Abe Snake Bodega in the movie. So if you watch Scream 6, the store that they go in is Abe Snake Bodega. And the reason that they named it that is because of us. And so that was a very cool thing, yeah.
We got time for 2 more questions.
Okay, Spencer, I had a question about Rocking the Boat. Did you intentionally name drop 4 different albums in that song?
Oh yes, that's no coincidence. Yeah, she's referring to the bridge in the song where we sort of sneak in all the album names previous to the album we're creating into the lyrics, and that was like the last piece of the puzzle. So that was, I'm glad that you got that.
Okay, so I had a question. Would you ever consider doing any sort of cameo in a horror movie, even as like a side character or comedic relief?
Of course, yeah. Are you a horror director?
I wish, dog.
Okay, let's get one more question. One more in.
Spencer, so we saw you in Pittsburgh when you opened up for Metallica, and your breakdowns are insane. Who usually writes those breakdowns, like that power that you have there?
As far as the breakdowns, especially in the last album and A Work of Art, the song by Terrifier, it was really just myself, Joe, who plays bass and sings, and our producer, Drew Falk. And we all sort of come from the same background in terms of the heavy music that we like. And we basically just try to make it the most absolutely batshit, ridiculous stuff, crazy. Breakdown. It's hard to do breakdowns these days because it seems like everything's been done. So we try to just have a lot of fun with it. That's why in A Work of Art, it'll be this crushing, brutal, almost death metal, deathcore part, and then Art will start playing the piano or playing the slap bass. But on Welcome to Horrorwood, you know, Dan Sugarman did a lot of stuff, and we kind of just sit in a room and try to make it as heavy and crazy as possible, and have it live up to the character or the kill scene.
Right. So this leads me to the last question. Ice Nine Kills been around for over 20 years. A lot of advances in like music technology, studio technology. How do you think the band has evolved over that 20 years using new studio techniques?
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that I can think in particular, when we started the band in 2000, 2001, it was before everything was done on the computer. And I remember Jeremy, who I started the band with, I think he borrowed a Tascam tape recorder from his school that he went to. It was like this kind of big unit. And, each of us would lay down, okay, we'll do the drum track first and the guitar track, blah, blah, blah. But now you can make everything sound like, any instrument you want with just a couple presses on the keyboard. And when we're demoing songs now, on the final product, obviously all the guitars are actually played. But Joe, who is sort of a musical genius, he's like a concert level pianist. He can, if I'm playing a guitar riff or I'm humming something in my head, he can just sit there at the piano and in 2 seconds it'll sound like a guitar. And it's really streamlined the process of demoing because we could kind of see so many ideas almost instantaneously, whereas back in the day, it might take an hour to do something that takes 5 minutes now. So it really sort of speeds along the process. Yeah.
Well, once again, thank you for coming out.
Sure. Thank you, guys.
We will see you tomorrow. We'll be signing. Once again,
Yes.
Spencer
Thank you,
Charnas,
guys.
Ice Nine Kills.
Thanks, guys.